Hi, welcome to Your Opportunity Partner. My name is Professor Art Gogatz. I'm your host for this series. And today we're going to talk about opportunities for students. But before we do, please like, subscribe to the channel. It's a new channel. Your subscription is always really good if you can. If you find these videos helpful, please do like and subscribe to it. Now, we're going to separate today's video into two different sections. One is institutionalized opportunities for students, and the other is personal, but they're both about education. Now, institutionalized, let's say you're in a school, and we're talking mostly about university level here. Most of the universities today, they offer opportunities for exchange programs. You could go to a different partner institution and they just generally exchange students, etc. That's good. I remember when I was working in France, I was in charge of international studies at the ICN Business School, which was connected to the University of Nancy in France. And when I started in that position, they only had 3 exchange programs, and when I left some years later, we had over 100. So I know what's involved in setting up these programs. A lot of schools, they just put the program together, and it's what you call an on-paper exchange, which means, yeah, they can list that they have it, but the students really are not moving back and forth. There's no exchange of faculty, there's no exchange of research or tech information, so it doesn't really function. But these exchange programs are really a good opportunity for students. Now, I remember back again when I was with the business school in France, every year we had places available in partner institutions that went vacant because our students just, no, I don't really want to leave France. I'll stay here and not take advantage. I always advise students, my God, it's fantastic. It's really a great experience to go to another country, to live with the people there. Usually can be for a semester. Sometimes the programs can be for a year. When we send students abroad on MBA, it was for a year. But it was a wonderful learning experience because you learned about the country, you made new friends, and you found that your way of doing something is not the only way. And that they do the same things, but they do them maybe a little bit different. And it's a great, great learning experience. So this is on the institutional level. Now, when I was there, some of the programs that we started were because the students wanted them. They used to come to us sometimes, the students, and they would say, oh, it would be great if we had an exchange program with this country or with this institution in the country. And we weren't able to do it, but a lot of times we were. So what's the message here? Okay, education is a business. There are 3 industries we don't always think are businesses. One is education, one is medicine, and the other is religion. So education, in most ways, is a business. And what's that mean? You, as a student, you're the client. You're the customer. Now, it's true that in education, students don't have a lot of power. Why? Because they're not repeat buyers. When you buy from a company, you go to any buying clothes, buying anything, service industry, rent a car, anything, they want you to come back and buy again, so they're nice to you. Education doesn't have to be nice to you because most students are one-time buyers. They have one program, but they don't go back again. But anyway, go to your institution, whatever school you're in, and see if they have exchange programs. They usually do. See if you can request that they request. Try. Ask. Don't think you're bothering them. Don't think it's impossible. You are the client. You are the customer. And that's really, really, really important. One of the things I tell my students, and I think it's really important, even though sometimes it sounds a bit stupid, don't be afraid of your teachers. And don't be afraid of your bosses. I've seen so many students who were afraid of their teachers. And the teachers play into it. First off, you have to realize a couple of things. When I ask my students another question, I say, we're playing a game here today when I'm teaching. What game are we playing? The students really don't know. I really never get the right answer that I'm looking for. The question that I ask the students is, okay, we're playing a game here today. Now, I'm teaching maybe MBA. I say, what game are we playing? Well, the game is school. I'm playing professor, and you are playing student. But if I meet you out on the streets of the city, we're just two people. And after the course is over, we're just two people. So, school is a big game. And it's also not really real. This is the problem with school and education. The professor knows it's not real, and the students know it's not real. So then why are we doing this? And why are we pretending it's very, very serious? Because school is, this professor makes it really serious. Why? Because they know it's not. School is practice. If you, in business or in industry, make a decision that costs your company a lot of money, you will be fired. In school, you give a stupid answer, you'll still pass the course, you'll still graduate. It's practice. So, because everybody knows it's not really real, the professors try to scare you. How? The exam. Oh, you're going to fail the exam. Oh, I'm going to give you a bad grade. Oh, it's going to go on your record. Oh, and the students are upset and they tremble with it. I remember when I was in grammar school in New York City, and the teacher would say, we have a test today, and 3 students would throw up on their desk just by nervous. Why? Because they were afraid they'd get a bad grade and get into trouble and be looked down upon, and their whole life and career would be wasted. The test. Oh, everybody passes. Teachers know something that they never tell students. Everybody here in the class is going to pass. Not everyone will get a good grade, but the grades are not that important. The important part is learning. But the message is, don't be scared of your teacher and don't be scared of your boss. I've seen so many companies where the employees, especially the young ones, are scared of the boss. Now, second part is more personal. Okay, one of the places I used to teach at was a university in Colombia, in Bogota, in South America. It was Universidad de los Andes, a very good university in Colombia. And I remember my first semester there, because I had only taught in France before I took the post in Colombia. And after my first semester, I put the grades in, and a couple of students came to my office and in tears, begging me, crying, to please change their grade because the grade was super important to them. And I found it strange because they didn't do that in France at all. But I think I felt sorry for one girl. I raised her grade. And then I asked my colleagues, since I was new at the school, I said, hey, I've never seen this before. Do you get this, or was it just me? And they said, no, every semester we get a couple of criers who come to the office. Well, sometimes I'm quite stupid, and sometimes I'm quite smart. And I happen to be smart at that point, and I said to myself, well, next semester I'm just going to announce in the first class that I refuse to change a grade once it goes in at the end of the semester. And I said to the classes, if you want to cry, do it today. After class, come to my office, come to and cry, plead for a good grade. I will give you extra work. I will call on you all the time in class. I will work with you to make sure you get a good grade. Well, that semester, nobody came to me after the semester to beg for a new, better grade, and no student ever came after the first class to ask for extra work or anything else. So, I believe, honestly, most students in the university are too passive. They don't really connect with their professor. What I suggest you do, seriously, take a class. In the first class, in the break, or after the class, go up to the professor and say, I really am interested in this subject, and I really would like to learn more. Can you recommend some reading and some books and some websites I can look at? Can you give me extra work? I'm going to try really hard. I'll be here all the time. I'm going to really try my best. Well, if you go into the first class and you have your business card, which you should have anyway, and it has your name on it, because in the first class, a lot of times the professor doesn't know your name or even bother to learn, it makes a huge impression. Why? All professors want highly motivated, dedicated, want to learn students. And you're saying, Professor, really, I want to learn this. Also, and again, this channel is saying, you want opportunity, you have to help it along. It doesn't come by magic. It's not going to just descend on you like rain. You got to work for it. So what does that mean? Before class, find out who your professor will be. Look him up. All professors are able to be Googled. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them different places. If they've written articles, and all professors have, read their articles. Talk to them. Ask them a question. You say, I read your article on this, but I wasn't clear about this point. Can you explain it to me? Or if they've written books. I've written 4 books. Most of my colleagues have written at least one. Talk to them about their book. Read their book. My God, you will get not only a good grade, but you might get opportunity. One of my classes when I was in undergrad, I had a professor in a photography course, and he announced in the first class he was going to hire, as his assistant, one of the best student in the class. So I said, I didn't really care that much about the grade, but I needed the job and I needed the extra money. So I tried really hard, and I got to be the best student in the class that time. And so he hired me. And I worked for him for years, and we became great friends. And when you work for somebody and a company for years, my God, that changes your life. So just by trying extra hard with your professors, you can really open a lot of opportunities. Now, basically, I would also say, as a student, make contact with the other students in your school and on your program. I used to teach in Hanoi, and I taught MBA, and they had classes Saturday and Sunday, all day, and they had a lot of students on the program. It was a joint program between the National University in Hanoi and one of the American universities. So they had a lot of students. And they provided lunch for all the students. So at lunchtime, they had many different groups. I think they had about maybe 15 different groups, different classes running concurrently. And everybody would eat on the top floor of the building, lunch. And they had, each of the classes used to have their tables, and they had table for group 1 and group 4, but they were all MBA. And I used to say to my students, Why are you eating at your table? Why don't you go and eat at one of the other tables and make friends with some of the other students? They're studying the same thing as you are. They are in the same city as you. They're the same nationality. They speak the same language, but you don't know them. Why don't? Why don't you go and meet them? No, I want to stay with my group. I want to stay with my class. I don't want to meet anybody. Huh? No, this is not a 20-year-old student I was talking to. All of the students I had at that time were working professionals. They studied on the weekend. They were about, I would say, 30 to 40 years old, most of them. These were regular adults with experience. And you say, well, why don't you go and make friends with some of your classmates in the other groups? No, I don't want to make no friends. I'm okay. I'll just stay with my little group. That is keeping your world small. Make your world as big as you can. Okay, last thing, because we're almost out of time for today. What makes a good teacher? Good question. What makes a good student? It's the same thing. What makes a good boss? It's the same thing. What makes a good employee? It's the same thing for all four. Teacher, student, boss, employee. What's the most important thing? 2 words. They care. That's right. You want the teacher who cares. Because it's true, you go up and talk to some teachers and they don't want to bother with you and they're distant and they brush you off. Okay, they just want to go in, get their salary, teach. They don't want to have any relationship with the student. They don't want to meet anybody and they don't care that much. Same thing with a student. They don't want to make contact with the teacher. They don't want to have to talk to them. Same thing with a boss. Okay, we're colleagues and we're here for the day, but after the day is over, boom, bye, we don't have anything to do. And how about the employee? Well, what do teachers want? They want students who care. What do students want? They want professors who care. Bosses want employees who care, who come in early, who leave late, who care about their job. And what do employees want? They want a boss who cares. Care. And you will get opportunity. Don't care, and you won't. It's not that, it's that simple. Don't reject it as being too simplistic. Start to care about everything you do and about every person you do it with, and you will find you will have more opportunities. Thank you very much for your attention today. See you on the next video. And bye-bye.